what we have defined on F5, we have defined this parameter that you have to take this path, or this way you have to load balance the traffic, like so that every server will utilized equally. There will be no other way that like 10 requests are going to the one server, 50 requests going to the another server. All the requests will be divided equally. This is a static method. In static, we have a round robin method. Now, second load balancing method is a static, the ratio load balancing method. Ratio load balancing method is also a static load balancing method, but this method, we define the ratio based on the capabilities and the caliber of the server. We defined it like how many requests will go to the which server. So like if I defined it like 5, I have set the ratio like that: 2, 1, 1, and something like 1. So we have defined those ratios like 5 ratio, 2 ratio, 3, 1 ratio, 1 ratio, 1. So whenever the first request will come to the client, it will go to the first server. Second will come, it will go to the second server. Third will come, it will go to the third server. Fourth will come, it will go to the fourth server. Fifth will come, it will go to the fifth server. Sixth request will come, it will again go to the server 1. Seventh will come, it will go to the server 2. Now see the magic here. When the 8th request will come, it should go to the server 3, right? But it will not go. Why? Because we have defined the ratio here. So 8th request will go to the server 1. Instead of going to the server 3, it will going to the server 1. 9th request will come, it will again go to the server 1. 10th request will come, it will again go to the server 1. Why? Because we have defined the ratio here: 5 ratio, 2 ratio, 1 ratio, 1 ratio, 1. That means if you count those ratio 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, out of 10 requests, 5 requests will go to the server 1, 2 will go to the server 2, 1 will go to the server 3, 1 will go to the server 4, 1 will go to the server 5. So based on the capabilities of the servers, so like those servers are not equally configured or equally have those powers. These servers are much lesser than this server. So based on the capabilities, this server has a through have CPU more memory, so he can handle more requests other than these servers. And that is why based on it, you have a configure the ratio. This is statically because you have configured those parameters on F5. You have configured. F5 is not taking its own decision to send the request on which server. No, you are manually deciding it which server, how many requests will go to the which server. So this is a static load balancing method. Now, if we talk about dynamic one, Same concept like what we have discussed over here for the static, same thing will applicable for dynamic as well. Dynamic routing. How the dynamic routing works. So being a network engineer, you guys are aware that we have different routing protocols. What are those routing protocols? Like we have RIP, we have EIGRP, we have OSPF, we have BGP. So BGP is something different, but let's talk about this EIGRP, RIP, OSPF. What are these routing protocols used for? So like what you will do, you will run those routing protocols over here. You will run those protocols over here, run here as well. When you run those routing protocols, what they actually do, they actually calculate the cost of the particular router or the distance, like which route has the least cost or has the higher cost. Now, if A want to go to the D, will you define it for which route you have to take? No. Router will automatically decide I will follow which path based on the delay and like cost. There are some parameters. Based on it, they will calculate the cost, and which has the least cost, they will follow that particular path. So if this is the direct connection and we have this least cost for this particular link, so this particular route will prefer. This is a routing part, because the main point is you are not defining anything over the routing or over the router, like which path you have to take now. No, they will automatically calculate and pass this traffic by its own parameters. Same thing applicable on load balancing method as well. We have dynamic load balancing method as well. If you see the slides here, see, this is the round robin what we have discussed. The client traffic is coming and the client is distributed the traffic. First request will go first server, second will come second, third will come third, fourth will come fourth, fifth will come on the first server. So this is a round robin. Ratio, same like you have defined the ratio, 3:2:1:1. One request, second request, third request, fourth request, fifth, sixth. But when the seventh request will come, instead of going to the server 3, it is going to the server 1, because we have a ratio 3:2:1. Now,
hello.
Yeah,
if we have like 3:2:3:1 like that, then how it will go on ratio?
So whatever you have defined the ratio, same approach will be followed. Like if you have defined something like 3:2:1, something like that. Okay, and instead of 5 servers, we have only 4 servers. So first request will go to the first server, second will go to the second server, third will go to the third server, fourth will go to the fourth server. Then this is the fifth request, sixth request, seventh request. Now 8th request will go to the server 1. because the ratio we have defined is 3:2, 3:2:1, and the next one will go to the server 2. If you count those things, 3, 3, 6, 2, 8, 8, 1, 9, 3, 3, 6, 2, and 1. Same requests will be distributed in the same manner how you are defining the ratio.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the dynamic method. Dynamic method, we have a multiple load balancing method. So let's talk about the first one, least connection. Least connection. So now we have configured load balancing method as a least connection. How it will work in F5? Now you have decided the least connection as a load balancing method. Now you don't need, first thing is you don't need to configure anything. One thing you have set, that is all done for you. Now F5 will take decision by its own. You don't need to worry about anything on which server the request will go. F5 will run its own algorithm and send the request based on the parameter what it get from the backend node. For example, currently, see, these are the connections. So something like connections are running. This server has a 40 connection, or don't do that one. F5 will run its own algorithm to check the number of connection are running on the server. By its own algorithm, he get to know that the current server connection status is like around 40 servers, or we have 45 servers on this server, or we have like 48 connections, or don't do that, 42 connections. We have only 3 servers. Let's ignore those 2 servers. Okay, now whenever the request will come to F5, F5 will check the number of connections are running on the backend server, and it will know like servers current server count, connection count are these 40 to 40, 42, 45. So whenever the request will come, the first request will come, it will send to the server 1 because it has a least connection. It has a least connection, that is 40. Now this, after this connection, the count has been changed. Now it has a 41. F5 will run its all algorithm again and will check, oh, okay, now it has a 41 connection. When the next request will come to F5, F5 again will check the count, 41, 45, 42. Okay, this server has the least connection. It can again send to the server 1 only. Now count increase to 42. Whenever the next request come to F5, F5 will see the count. Okay, I have 42, 45, and 42. Now these 2 servers have a 42 connection. So ideally, request can go any of the server. There is no such algorithm to understand and reason actually why the request is being sent to this server only, why this is not, because both the server has the equal connection. So F5 can send the request to any of the server. That is like, it's not a debatable point which server will get this request. F5 can send any server. Either it will send to this server or send to this server. If the request is sent to this server, this count will increase to the 43. Then whenever the next request will come, it will check the counts. It has 42, 43 and 45. So the next request will go to the server 1. So this is a dynamic method because you are not defining anything. Being a F5 administrator, you have to define those things, but no, you are not defining any parameters over here. F5 has its all algorithm parameters where it is getting the number of connection details from the server, and based on that data, it is sending the request to the backend servers. Right? This is a dynamically. You don't need to. A human intervention is not required. Okay, I hope you get this point. So same like we have more different dynamic methods as well, like fastest, observed, predictive. This is nothing actually, dynamic ratio. No. So these are the ones, different types of load balancing in dynamic. Okay, so like, is there anything you have any doubt, something like that? Okay, if nothing else, so this is our demo class actually, and so we will start our course either from tomorrow or from the next week. So we have, as Gaurav mentioned earlier, so this is the weekend class and it will start from 11. It will be like 2-hour class or the 2.5 more than that's it. Okay. Yeah, is there any doubt? Okay, if nothing else, so we'll catch on like tomorrow or the next week, where we will begin our class.
Nishant, I have a doubt. Hello.
Yeah, Rohan, please tell me.
So let's say we choose the load balancing method as persistent, like specific requests go to a specific server, like cookie persistent, right?
Yeah,
So let's say that server goes down, and if that particular connection has only, we should only direct that to that server. And since that server is down, so how will F5 handle that?
Okay, so first thing is, like, you have asked a bit advanced topic, but yeah, let me tell you. So persistence, this is we called as the persistence is actually used to persist for a single user to single server. So like, right, if I give you an example, this is one of the client and all the requests are going to this particular server only, right? Yeah. So the request will go to this. Whenever the client will come, the request will go to this servers. Suppose this server gets down. Now F5 know this thing due to the health monitor. It has a feature called health monitor, where it will check the health, whether server is up or down. If it is a down, then there will be no persistence. Request will again go to the any other server based on the load balancing method what we have set. But yes, it will not go to the server one where it was going earlier. It will choose some else, like something else. It will choose the server 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever we have server in our pool. It will pick one of the server. Then based on the persistence what we have set earlier, it will make a connection to the new server. Okay.
So all those existing connections that will be dropped, or like
Definitely, all will be dropped. Whenever the request, suppose the connection are going to this particular server. Now, a separate or we can say a new persistence table will be created between this client to this server.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Is there anything? Anyone has any doubt?
Yeah, Nishan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many servers. And
Mhm.
how the load balancer will identify this is the primary server, this is the second server. Then we will give any priority on
Yes.
the.
Yes, you are right. We will play based on the priority. Who has the higher priority will pick the server as a primary, and what we have on the low priority, that's choose as a secondary servers.
Okay. And Nishan, so actually just I want to know,
Mhm.
suppose suppose if I want to split that one load balancer as many load balancers, like we are using like hyper version something we are using, then what are the requirements these things like? I think you get my point. So I think we have
Actually,
only one physical load balancer, like one device,
Mhm.
but my client want to split that to 5 devices.
so like you can set any number of devices.
Devices, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but
In
like,
suppose
how many waves you are creating on one particular device? That's all will be handled by the single device.
handled by single device. Then also suppose if we have so many servers, like in load balance also we have primary, secondary, tertiary like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we also have suppose right now up to right now we are saying like one load balancer is like
No, so Ram
load
Babu,
balancing servers. After that we have primary, secondary servers.
but you seems like you are talking about to have like to load balance the servers. You are again load balancing the load balance device, right?
Suppose if we have multiple load balancers, then
Yeah.
also it will
Yes. So,
like active setup I want, then
Mhm.
yeah, that is my doubt actually.
Yeah. So yeah, you are correct, but those functionality will be enabled on the global level. So like
Okay.
globally, you can say like you have 5 different data centers. One is in US, one is in UK, one is in India. Okay. Now the traffic, how the traffic will be load balanced between the different data centers. So this functionality we called as a GTM. It is a global traffic manager.
Okay.
And in this course, we will cover only LTM. LTM comes only for the data center.
One data center.
Yeah. But yeah, we will go through some, cover some topics for GTM as well. You don't need to worry about the basic functionality we will cover in this course.
Like in one data center also for backup load balances also there's a chance for one data center also.
So like this, we cannot say like that, but yeah, in data center, we have a redundancy. Like redundancy is like we will cover in the HA part, high availability. If one device goes down, then it will handle by the secondary device so that your traffic will not get interrupted.
It's like active standby.
Active standby or the active based on your requirement, how you will set your HA configuration.
Okay, HA. The topic HA is there. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry, we will cover on this course. If you see the slides, if you see the course, we have this HA part.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, is there anything anyone want to cover? I have enrolled in I have another question, but I guess the question is not okay. Can we connect? No, Rohan, what is your doubt actually? You can speak up here.
So I wanted to know how what's the advantage of iRule over a policy, and what's the main differentiator between these two? Because essentially they can do the same thing, but what is it that uh, iRule can do, a policy cannot do?
Yeah. So iRule is basically a scripting part.
Yeah.
Let me. iRule is a scripting. Okay. Through scripting, as you are aware, through scripting, you can achieve anything beyond your limits, beyond the F5 capabilities. You can cover anything that you can do with the help of iRule. But if we talk about policies, policies are part of GUI, where you can match it, you can redirect it, you can play with the headers, you can play with the URI, you can distribute the traffic between one server to another server, from one URL to another URL. You can do the basic thing through policies. Same thing you can do with the iRule as well. But iRule is something which is not limited actually. You can achieve as many as things you can. If you are good in scripting part, you can, create anything, you can redirect anything based on the scripting. That's the power of scripting. But as I mentioned, policies will be configured over the GUI, and GUI have some limits. Whatever the feature we have in GUI, you can play those things only. But through iRule, you can do anything. What you cannot do in CLI or the GUI. This is the difference, iRule and the policies. But yeah, both are used for the traffic manipulation or the traffic redirection. Yeah. Clear, Rohan?
Yeah, I got it. Like, do you have any real life example wherein
Definitely.
we can do using
We will cover those things in the live classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we are good. Gaurav, up to you. Okay, so I think Gaurav is not available. Okay, guys, so Gaurav and the team will, I think no. Okay, so guys, Gaurav and the team will reach out to you, and they will let you know the class timings, and the like weekend we already discussed at 11 p.m. So he will let you know like if the class will start from tomorrow or the next week. Okay. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you for joining the class. Thank you. Okay.